Will you give us a sign? Welcome to our press event. My name is Maria Fiskerud, and I'm Chief Sustainability Officer of BRA. I'm also the project manager for this project that we will talk about today. And we have a very exciting day in front of us. And I will also be facilitating this today together with Magdalena Strafer, Head of Public Affairs at Neste, also part of the project.
Yes, thank you. And just remind us all that this is a hybrid event, so I want to welcome you all here at Stockholm Bromma Airport, but also the journalists following us on our stream, but also participants following us on YouTube. So warmly welcome all of you. And well, we will soon start to show you a short film to have a background on this event. We were here in September 2021, ATR and Neste and Brotens Airlines signing a letter of intent that we will have do a 100% SAF flight. And we said we would do it in 2 steps. One of them to fly with 100% SAF without any fossil fuel, but also start the process of getting 100% SAF certified for commercial flights.
And we will be talking a lot about sustainable aviation fuel today, or SAF, as every abbreviation is. And it's a fuel made of renewable raw materials, like used cooking oil, for example. And with SAF, we can reduce the GHG protocol with up to 80% compared to fossil fuel, that is. So we still have some hurdles, but today we will show that it is possible for a commercial flight to fly on 100% SAF in both engines. And from our knowledge, it's not been done before, so we are very proud to be able to present this for you.
So it's a historical day today. It's been a bumpy road, I have to say. Everything that can go wrong sort of have gone wrong, but we fixed everything. Also, when the pilot's flight was cancelled, we managed to get them here almost in time. So that means we have a takeoff, but slightly delayed, a 15 minutes delay. So that means we should start then, I think, with showing the movie, the film, on around the background on this project. So with that film, I would warmly welcome Ulrika Matsgård up on stage. She's the CEO of Braathens Regional Airlines and will tell us a little bit about the background of this project. So welcome up, Ulrika. The floor and word is yours.
So, you are all so welcome here today, both online, but also all of you that are here in our brand new office. As you all see, we are still a work in progress all around the office, and together with all our employees, we will move in here officially tomorrow, so that will be a great day too. But we are here already today to take the opportunity to see a very amazing landing, and we will see it from our terrace here behind. This is indeed a historical day because we will witness the first commercial flight in the world on 100% sustainable engine. Has been done before, but this is this flight that we will do today will be hard work has been done towards the day of today. And from September, when we announced the ambition of achieving a 100% certification of our ATR flights. So the flight on 100% sustainable fuel, but also we will get the data and the facts that is needed to fulfill the certification process. It will take some time to get the certification. So we have already started the process in order to follow the road 2030 to reach net zero. And the aviation sector needs a front runner, and we are happy to be the one. We hope this will benefit many airlines globally in the future. The Perfect Flight 1.0 was made back in 2019 in a great collaboration between us, Neste, and ATR, together with the two airports that we flew between. The purpose was to minimize the emissions from one flight by using the tools available blending. At that time it was 50%, it's still 50% allowed. Optimized load factor, eco flying, the most straight way and without high height effects. And so on. So that was the start. And since then, we have continued to work hard to reach the next step with the certification of a 100 sustainable aviation fuel. We have a long history of sustainable initiatives that we are really proud of, but the last IPCC report showed us that we need to speed up the work towards net zero. So we aim for a fossil-free domestic aviation 2030 and all flights from Swedish airports 2045. And we work hard for that already today. So finally, I would like, on behalf of Braathens Regional Airlines, ATR and Neste, thank the project team and all of you who has joined us here in our new office as well as online to take part of this historic day. So thank you very much for all your efforts. All flights from Swedish airports 2045. And we work hard for that already today. So finally, I would like, on behalf of Braathens Regional Airlines, ATR and Neste, thank the project team and all of you who has joined us here in our new office as well as online to take part of this historic day. So thank you very much for all your efforts.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ulrika, for that.
Thank you.
And now let's see, are we close to the takeoff in Malmö? Maybe not. I don't see. No? Yeah, okay.
Okay, but we will, and we want to learn a little bit more about the technical part of the project.
So
we
good.
would like Fredrik to tell us, or maybe you have to check your phone for the takeoff.
No, yeah, but it's something that I check the phone. Shall I go up on stage?
Yeah, Fredrik
Yes,
is Chief
please.
Operating Officer at Broughton's Regional Airlines, and maybe you want to share some
No, I just got
technical
a text
knowledge.
message actually.
Yeah.
So, and the text message said that the flight is filed, which is then an estimated departure to 10:30 local time.
Okay.
So it's actually 30 minutes before schedule.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Or actually,
It depends.
depending on what schedule
Before
we're
or
talking
after,
about.
depending on. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, this project has been going on since September, so to say, officially. But I know Per started much earlier than that, and Stefan and Neste as well. I mean, but I was asked to come in sometime around August in the pre-study, and my thinking then was just that, okay, I mean, we're going to make a flight. But then when we started to actually look into in more in-depth details, approvals, insurances, test flights, fuel on logistic point of view, then of course, I mean, I was taking on what you said as well, is that, I mean, we have had a couple of hurdles along the way. But I think that what I want to bring in is that it's been hard work, and we have been having a very, very focused agenda in between us. We have, I don't know how many hours we've done in meetings, but in the end of the day, just because we are doing it partnering with 3 different areas, I mean, that's the reason why we're here today. I mean, without HR, we can't be here. Without Neste, with the fuel, we can't be here. Without us, we can't be here as well because we have the aircraft. So I think, I mean, the full team, I think I want to raise them up a bit as well and say thank you to them because, I mean, you made this possible.
Applaud.
And yeah, I don't want. Shall I go into details on technical side? I mean, I think that the movie said some parts as well, but I mean, Pratt and Whitney has also been part of this, and of course the engine comes from them, so they are the ones who are saying what we can do and not do. Yeah.
Yeah. And since we are thanking people, Swedavia has also helped us at the airports, both in Malmö and here in Bromma.
Yeah.
So it takes the whole ecosystem to make this change for the industry, and we are very happy to be able to be part of it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, it's a big day.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is. We're writing history, I would say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We
are.
do. But not really yet. Because we have like 15 minutes, I guess, then.
That's very true.
So let's continue the press event. And I think, it will be better and better this day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Fredrik.
So then we will have time to start the panel.
Yes.
And maybe we have to make a break in between to see the takeoff from Malmö. And that will be showed on the screen. So we will be seeing it live from here as well.
So with that, I would like to welcome up from ATR, CEO, Stefano Bottali. I don't know the pronunciation, I tried. And then we have also Chairman of Broughton's Regional Airlines, PG Broughton, here as well. Welcome you up. And also Masoud Javaheri, who is Head of Commercial Development Renewable Aviation at Neste. Welcome. So, the flight is actually says in the manuscript is now in the air, but it's soon in the air. And we are flying 100% SAF in both engines, first commercial flight. Did you really believe this could be possible when you signed the letter of intent? And why did you want to go for 100% SAF? Maybe Per, you want to start. You started this project.
Well, whether we believed it would happen, I think we did, but not as quickly as this. It started off with at least an idea of a long process, and I think thanks to both of you, we have been able to do this very quickly. And I think it is important to demonstrate that it's possible.
Stefano, you want to continue?
Well, since the first day we started talking about it with Pierre, it was the COVID time. I remember back and forth of emails, and I was, let's say, very much attracted because while living in a very difficult present, we were thinking of the future with a vision, and that was very meaningful to all of us. And as leaders in this industry, we want to drive the change. And since we had that understanding with Per, even with back and forth discussions, meetings, it was a lengthy process to the signature of the LOI in September, but I was a firm believer that we could make it. And that was in my 2022 budget. And that was my personal budget and ATR budget.
That's good.
And I'm not surprised.
No, that's good.
I'm, let's say, happy today.
Yeah.
And again, as we have a vision, is another step. It's a step, but it's not the end of it.
No, true. It's a journey.
Yes, indeed.
Start of the journey.
And our mission is travel, is connecting people. So changing, moving is all we have to do.
Now in a sustainable way.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you, Stefano. Masood, what do you think?
Well, it's great to be here. I mean, when we signed it and we were pulled into this project, I mean, we saw it as a good opportunity to challenge the current specifications. So that itself was very fun for us to be involved. I wasn't 100% sure at the time we signed. I mean, this is the first time it's happening, so you can't be 100% sure. But 95, I would say. But we have shown it's possible. And we have also shown that, we need, I mean, here we are representing the airline industry. So we need to work together to make this kind of happen.
And just to add, when we started the project, we had a strategy coming out of the COVID where we said we want to fly actually with SAF, not just be part of a blending mandate. And I think that's been the core of our strategy, that we have to use SAF until the next technology step is coming. And we have been, and we were actually the first one requesting 100% SAF because no other airline was at that level and wouldn't be for a long, long time. So that's why we started it, and that's why we said we would like to do it, because we needed 100%. It's up to our clients, our passengers, to pay. And we have done, Ulrika and her team has done a lot of work to really introduce the new way of flying, which is done through a lot of initiatives. So we strongly believe that we need it. We need 100% SAF quickly. And some of you know that the government took over strategy last week and decided that the Bromma is not closing, but it needs 100% SAF from 2030. So even the government is taking up on what we have done, even though they put it in their own name. But it is interesting that somebody has to start this. And being small does at least allow us to be quick. And that's something we have benefited from ATR. And Nestor, you're big, but you're quick anyway, yeah?
Try to keep up.
Yeah, we are talking a lot about reducing emissions. And we also talk about, is there enough sustainable aviation fuel, and what about the price? But I thought before we talk to the panel, you travel a lot down to Brussels.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit of what's going on there?
Yeah, last year the EU Commission presented the Fit for 55 package, of course, like to increase the ambition of reducing emissions with 55% to 2030. And some of the proposals, directives, is about also aviation when it comes to the refuel aviation, to implement a bio mandate for 2025. Quite volumes, I would say, coming from Sweden, also working for Neste. So I think, but still, there will be more demand of the fuel. Also, the energy tax directive that says that fossil fuel should be also for aviation, be taxed and so on. So there are, sort of tools and directives now coming that says that we need to lower the emission in aviation as well. So I would, with that also, talking about, are there enough SAF? How can we pump up the production as well? I think that's important also for the price, I guess.
Yeah, and also since we today also show that we can fly on 100% already today, so now it's not 50. Now we have a higher bar, so to speak. So Masoud, if we start with you and Neste, can we scale up the production, you think? Or is it?
Well, it's definitely doable. I don't think there is enough SAF today in the market, to be honest. I mean, we all need to contribute, and Neste is doing, our part. We are increasing our capacity now from 100,000 to 1.5 million, so 15 times more by next year. But we need more, definitely. What we also see is that we also need other solutions as well, I would say. So it's good that we focus on the renewable and we fly on sustainable way. But we believe that electrification will come in as well for short-haul flights. We have hydrogen technology coming in, but what we have now is really this our production technology HEFA, which is right now and can contribute. But we have a long way to go, definitely.
Stefano, then, why is 100% SAF important for you, given the limitation or the slightly limitation, as Masoud said, in SAF production?
Well, we consider SAF the quickest answer to the concern that everybody has about sustainable aviation. It is the quickest because aircraft, as they are produced today, can immediately be adapted, and today we're demonstrating it, to flying 100% sustainable aviation fuel. And flying 100% sustainable aviation fuel, we are cutting emission up to 80%, which is an amazing goal. And there's no silver bullet to the answer, can we go to net zero emission? There have to be different streams. And definitely SAF is at reach. I consider it not a low-hanging fruit, but it's a fruit that we can catch in the very near future. And it's about driving the attention of the different stakeholders, as we have just said, increasing production, which will then mean lower prices and make passengers aware of the chance they have, that they could fly 100% SAF, paying probably a coffee more than their ticket, but contributing to sustainable aviation.
Well, and also, we are in the right country. There is a lot of feedstock in this country that can become SAF. The forestry industry is a huge provider of possibilities. The big problem we have as an airline and with SAF is that we compete in refinery capacity with diesel. And diesel has a much easier offtake. And I've also been told that the refinery production equipment is much more expensive to do sustainable aviation fuel rather than diesel. So we need somehow to get support and probably financial support to the producers to be able to speed up the production. And there are, I won't mention name, but there are competitors around that really doesn't have the muscles like you have to invest, even though it's not profitable. And they need a push to be able to produce enough fuel. So I think we can do it here, but then with the help of the government or the politicians, as we have some here today, we could manage that very quickly. There is capacity, and refineries are being closed down as we speak because of electric cars or whatever, and they can be converted quite easily. But we have to start that route. And everybody is concerned about new technology. I'm much more concerned about using the technology that exists to do it the right way, and then SAF is the only one.
Do you have any proposals? Maybe what can the government do to support? Masoud, do you have any?
Well, I think government can play a big role, actually. I mean, they can create a, say, atmosphere where it's attractive to invest. I mean, that's the first from our point.
Exactly.
I mean, the government play a role in creating business. That's definitely a big role in this one.
If I may comment, I think I'm a true believer in a free competition, and I think it's better that we get support so that we can push forward the use of SAF, and that government, like, it shouldn't be legal for governmental or councils employees not to fly on 100% SAF, as an example. One should go in front as being a front runner when it comes to that. So There is obviously discussion about pricing and do you want the cheapest price, but you should say that, well, if you fly domestic or if you fly certain routes, it's only allowed to do that with 100% SAF or 50% to start with.
50%,
So
yeah.
we have to push it that way. And then I think the main thing the governments could do in every country is to actually support the scaling of production of SAF.
That's right.
Because there is not a perfect market. There is hardly any competitors. We need to have SAF in the same competitive environment as normal fuel.
Stefano, do you have something to add?
Well, you know, the supply side of energy, fuel, is an industry where there are high barriers to entry. And it's mostly worldwide a capitalistic approach. So private capital have the need of certainty about future opportunities. So having incentive in the use of SAF at the level of airlines is creating the demand, which will then pull incremental investments into SAF production. If we can generate that circle, which is advantageous to all players, definitely we will have the answer.
Yeah. Do you see that you can have, if you're as an airline, do you see that you can get help from the travelers? Do you see that the travelers also want this and can help to raise the demand?
Well, that's been our goal, and I know commercially, BRA has been working very hard to make that available. And one of the things I showed you earlier today is how we actually now market over tickets. So basically, the first thing you have to decide whether I'm going to save the world or not. You do that when you enter to and that's the first airline in the world that's done that, because in most of the airlines, it's auxiliary sales, so you have to do it at the end, while we have asked our passenger to make a choice. And by doing that, these tickets is a ticket, not an auxiliary, which means that it's available in any distribution channels, and it's available. So basically, if local community or whether the state want to make an agreement with us, they can buy this, and it's flexible within the price range as well. So it's a new way of thinking, and we have to, we have signed our science-based target to go to 50% very quickly. So we are push ourselves to make it happen, so to speak. So I think so. I think we have to save the planet. I think even though Europe is emitting 8% of the world's emissions. Sweden is one of the best in class, and Brussels is basically that much. But we can make a difference.
So it's not just about making a difference for our companies, it's also to make a difference for others, to show that it's possible, to be an inspiration.
Yeah, I think, if I may, as a small airline, we went through tough times. It's a very different airline than 2 years ago. And when you have to start again, you have to have a goal. And it was not meant to do the same another time. So we decided this time we're going to do it for real, and SAF is one of that. So I truly believe that we can make a difference. I'm a capitalist. On the other hand, I want to make a change. I make a difference.
But just to add, I mean, like I said, I mean, it's really great. I mean, we need to show also that it's possible. I mean, Scandinavia and Nordic country has always been a front runner on this one. I mean, we introduced a mandate on aviation, Norway, Sweden first, same on the road side. So I think this is also, as you say, I mean, we are small, but we can show that it's possible. I think that's what we want to echo to other locations.
And when we did the strategy, the ATRs to start with, it's an easy task because it consumes so little fuel. And it's been interesting to discuss with companies as well. They say, well, yeah, but we normally fly jets. Yeah, but it takes 10 minutes longer on an hour route. But if you want to save the planet, you can spend 10 minutes more. Is that an issue for you? And then it's very difficult to say, yes, I want to emit a lot and fly 10 minutes faster. So it's all about perception, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it has a lot of meaning, even for young colleagues at ATR. we feel the importance of improving. And amongst improvement, for business, there's no business if there's no sustainable business. And when we look at decision making, we try to change the paradigm. It's not simply a dollar-driven decision-making process. It has to be a sustainable decision for the business today, tomorrow, in the long-term future. And when we talk about sustainable aviation and the use of sustainable aviation fuel, I think there's a perfect match. And newcomers inside ATR are not looking for a higher salary. Of course, they want some money. Nobody works for glory. No? But amongst their priority checks, when they step into our gates, they ask working hour, flexibility, purpose of the company, commitment to environment. And we have to respond. And our duty as leaders is to set the paradigm and make the example. And we can do, and we are here to demonstrate that.
Yeah.
So you mean it's possible to combine a good business decision with the commitment to the environment?
I would say, Maria, you have to change from possible, it is necessary.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's no long-term business if it is not sustainable. And this typically is an industry which is long-term. You know, when we started ATR 40 years ago, we had in mind probably a journey that was 30 years long. And we have incrementally invested in the platform to extend the life of it. And now we're thinking of the next program. So you understand that in such a long-term cycle, you have to be sustainable and affordable. And the two go together. Because sustainability means as well that you give the opportunity of all stakeholders involved to have a decent level of life. Because if sustainability is about loss-making in business, the business is no more there. So we have to match sustainability and affordability. And that's what we are trying to do. It's an aircraft which is already the lowest consuming aircraft, and we want to cut consumptions more, and we want to reduce CO2 more at an affordable price for passengers, for airlines, for people that work at ADR, for everybody.
Thank you. I think we have time for a last question, maybe. Looking at Fredrik now. Yes. Okay. 2 minutes. Okay. So let's then, for the future, we soon have the flight in air, a takeoff soon. But what do you hope for the future then with this project? Should we start with Masoud?
Yeah, I mean, this was really the first step. And we now showing that we can make it. So the next step is really, try to get the 100% SAF certified. I think that was the aim when we started as well. And that's going to be a great achievement because we need to do that. I mean, right now you can only blend 50% in a fuel maximum. And those cycles of, getting the specification approved is taking a long time. So now as soon as it take off. But I definitely believe that we should focus more on sustainability and get this certification in place.
Yeah, perfect. Pai.
Well, there is a strong interest in new technology. And of course, we are believers in new technology. On the other hand, SAF is how we can change things now. So I think we should really focus on what we can do now. And then, of course, the future will be what the future is. So, and then hopefully it works, yeah?
Yeah?
It will work. We did our homework. We did our homework. We did our homework on the prototype aircraft. We did our homework with Pratt & Whitney. So we are confident that everything will be okay. And there are people sitting here with me today, which are the great team of ATR that have made this possible. And I want to pay tribute to all of them.
Yeah, a big thanks to the whole project team.
Yeah, the whole project team has done an amazing job. And let's see, now we're almost there, I guess.
Then we might be able to
Yes.
go and have a look ourselves, or not, yeah?
Do we have also some connection with the pilots? No?
Do we have?
I know, they're trying.
Let's.
So the pilot is Cyril Cesar Boaz, which is our flight test chief test pilot, former military
Vi kunde prata.
pilot, and now it's with ATR
Okay.
since I think 2016.
Efteråt sen.
Very experienced
True.
guy.
Yes.
We have asked the best
Perfect.
to be here for the event.
And
It
the
has to be perfect.
And the aircraft is one of our normal aircraft that we fly every day. It's apparently the one that is debt-free, is it? Yeah.
That's the one you own, yeah.
Yeah. So this, so through the pandemic, it's a bit difficult, but this one has no debt. So
Oh, God!
Oh, there it is.
All right.
Woo! Wow.
It's in the air.
It's in
finally.
the air.
and
It has
the
to be perfect.
and the aircraft is one of our normal aircraft that we fly every day. It's apparently the one that is debt-free, is it? Yeah.
That's the one you own, yeah.
Yeah. So this, so through the pandemic, it's a bit difficult, but this one has no debt. So.
Oh, God!
Oh, there it is.
All right.
Woo! Wow.
It's in the air.
It's in
finally.
the air.
Will be a short.
So your feelings right now, Stefano?
I'm, let's say, confident as any other flight,
Yeah.
but I'm proud, and I'm looking forward to we're watching the landing.
Yeah.
To, let's say, celebrate the success.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm very proud, and I'm very grateful to, the partners of this project,
Yeah.
because when we made it in 2019, go back 3-4 years ago. SAF, yes, was a great event, but I don't believe that there was so much focus as we see it today. So I think we really are pioneers, because to make it happen in 2019, what we have called so far the perfect flight, which is less than perfect compared to today, it was a perfect flight, and it was a combination of Brattons, it was a combination of Neste and ATR, working together, trying to do the best use of the different ingredients, not simply the fuel. It's the aircraft, is the way the aircraft is managed through the flight control system, and eventually that was a 46% reduction of CO2 already, 2019, 3 years back,
And-
which is, if I read 30.
Exactly.
And
So-
also, when we talked about it 2019, we said that, it's going to take so long time before we need 100%, so we don't need to even try to fly on it. And now we are here.
Yeah.
So that is amazing.
But the good news is that Neste is increasing by 15 times the production
Yeah.
of sustainable aviation fuel.
Yeah.
So we can plan for the next step,
Definitely.
because if we stand still, we are lost. We have to move.
Any thoughts from Masoud and Per? And then we'll change to the external.
When I started, when we took off, I think it's important to demonstrate this is a normal aircraft that flies every day, passengers. It's one which been with our fleet for 3-4 years. It's now flying on 100%. It could have been full of passengers, it doesn't really matter.
I think it's a very good point. I mean, it was flying yesterday, passengers until late evening,
Yeah.
and it's flying passengers tomorrow from Bromma.
Yeah. So it is a normal aircraft. It's just that because of restrictions, we can't have passengers on board. So it's, and then that speeds up to 100% SAF. And I think the other thing which is interesting, when you look at the new generation, I'm old, so, but anyway, they don't want to have a blending mandate. They don't want to fly on some sort of perceived SAF. They want to fly on an aircraft that has SAF in the physical tanks. And being a small, it's obviously difficult with logistics, we know that. But being a small airline flying from small airports, we can actually do it. While it's difficult to have different things than the blending mandate when you come to a big airport. So I think we can demonstrate, and I'll be very eager to kind of explain to a passenger that, you know, the big corporation, you really don't want to buy this, no? You have an option to fly 100%, well, with hardly any emissions. You don't want to do that. You want to save money, yeah? And I think that's going to change gradually. And then the private consumers of normal passenger will gradually adapt. But we have to have 50% by Ulrika in 3.5 years now. It needs to be 50% in the tanks, yeah?
Masoud, some last words.
No, it feels great. I mean, now we showed also it works fantastic, and it was really a team effort.
Yeah.
Big thanks to the whole project team, really. Really proud to be here as well with ATR and Brothers. So, and we're looking forward to the next steps.
Yeah.
Same here.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you. Big applause. So now we also have some other relevant stakeholders in an external panel that we want to hear their opinion and feedback on this project. So I would like to welcome up Lena Wennberg, Head of Environment for Swedavia. We have also Maria Stockhaus, member of the Swedish Parliament from the Moderate Party. And we have Fredrik Kempe also here, Director for Industry Affairs, Swedish Aviation Industry. Warmly welcome. So let's see. Yeah, there are some flowers and so on there also.
We wanted to show the green.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so what you have now seen the takeoff, you've heard also the project with 100% SAF. What are your reactions?
Yesterday there was a big speech. The whole conference is about sustainable aviation, because we know that sustainable aviation is the ticket to growth, but not only to growth of aviation, but also to fly. If we cannot fly sustainable in the future, we're not flying at all. So the meeting there did, I'm sure, not mention this because it has not received the attention yet. But tomorrow, when they wake up, my God, will they notice this event? And I think only that deserves an applause to everyone involved.
Thank you, Fredrik.
So truly, truly amazing, and congratulations.
Thank you so much for that. Lena, your comments also helping out here.
I'm truly impressed also, and I echo Fredrik here. It's good words. I think this is a very important step for the aviation business to reach the goal of fossil-free domestic flying by 2030 and a whole fossil-free aviation in Sweden by 2045. So it's a very big and important step. And it's also an important step for airports, because we are under the environmental law, we have to have a permit, and we have to prove that the aviation could be sustainable for the future every time we will have a new environmental permit. So it's a very big step for aviation business in Sweden.
Thank you. Maria, as well.
Yes, I'm overwhelmed actually to see the flight taking off, and I'm looking forward to seeing it live when it lands. It's I'm amazed at the accomplishments to get this in the air so fast. I think we have aggressive targets when it comes to fossil-free aviation in Sweden, and I think those goals are important to speed up processes. And then I was thinking when I was listening to all the other to the other panel, that what can we do from the political side and from policy side so that we are not like a stumbling block for this, and also what can we do to encourage and make this easier and more sort of speed up the process. And I think there's a lot of things that we can do to do that. And I think it's just to show that it is impossible. It's possible. It's important for us to take the next step. And I'm a little bit surprised that there are, I don't know how many other politicians you invited, but I'm sort of ashamed of my colleagues that they are not here, because I think they really should be. And we need to sort of get rid of this fly shame that we have in Sweden and start looking for the future, that we actually can fly with a clear conscience and fly fossil free.
Yeah. We agree with you, of course, but this is the first step that we are doing today, as we talked about, and the next step will be the certification. So we just wanted to know, do you think we can manage with ATR, Brotens, and Neste? What do you think about that? And do you see that you could help in any way? Because that that is to get it certified so we can actually have customers as well on the flight next time. That's the big aim, of course, of this project.
Should I start?
You could start.
Okay.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's possible. I made a quick scan on internet yesterday just to see how many different projects that are working not on the fuel but on the certification of the engines, and there are quite many. I think this is one of the most forward-leading again, and it's a first flight with 100% in both engines, so it's really unique. But if you look at the mass of attention and money that is plowed into this, I'm convinced that we are going to see certification maybe per aircraft engine couple. We will see. Eventually, there are many different engines out there, and we know that the future engines that are being built now are already 100%, let's say, SAF guaranteed. So I'm not at all worried that it will not happen. What can we do to speed up? I think we all have to devote our time and energy to these kind of initiatives. But I also would like to see our authorities and politicians push and put more money to the certifying side of things, because everything has to be pushed through my previous employer, EASA, for example, the European Aviation Safety Agency. And so we have to devote time and money to this. And it cannot be that only the industry is investing in this. This is something that the country, Sweden, and Europe has to invest in. So that's, I think, how we can push this.
Great. Lena.
Well, I think you three partners are a very good team in this, and I think you have proven today that you are capable of doing this. So I'm great hope in this, and I guess all your investigation you did last night is good to know that there's lots of things going on. So I have hope on you.
And I think important for us is to take like this when we've done this and you've proven that it's possible to make sure that we work on a European level to get the certifications through as fast as possible.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I think also that I think we all agree, that this is historical, of course, but also that
It's also
it's been historical. You have no idea how historical this project has been. Sorry, sometimes it's comes up when I but the thing is that the debate today is about we shouldn't fly. At the same time, we know people are queuing for hours to fly. Sadly they do. Not at Bromma, I would say. But it's and people want to fly a sustainable way. And we all agree on that. How can we work together to overcome these challenges? Because I think also that we have a mandate in Sweden that we are forerunners, but it's only 2%. GHG reduction, and for EU we talk about 2%, bio mandate at 2025. And we are talking about 100% here. So how can we work together to speed up the transition to more sustainable aviation? This time I start with Maria. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I think even though we're like a small percentage of the world, I think if we can show that it's possible, and we can show it's possible, and we are still maintaining like a high quality of life for people, not sort of moving backwards and not traveling or not doing other things that needs flying. So I think in that way it's important that we do this and that we are the front runner, because then we can show that there's we can do this. Where do we have the screws that we need to start moving internationally to make this happen in other countries, because we know it works. It's much easier to get other people to change if you already show them that it works. So I think we shouldn't underestimate that even though we're a small part of emissions in the world, we can still make a big difference if we show that it actually works. And I think this is a very important big first step.
And maybe Sweden can be more active in the EU, for example, to push for.
But we need to sort of we're in opposition, and it's difficult because we need to change the way we see flying. It can't be a bad thing. It's a good thing that people meet and travel. But we need to do it in a sustainable way. That's a different way of seeing it than saying that we shouldn't fly at all.
To change the way of thinking. Yeah, thank you. Lena?
Well, I think we have to handle this big misunderstanding that flying has a bigger part in climate impact than it really has, because it's only a couple of 2-3% of the carbon dioxide, or 5% if you think about climate impact. I think that the broad public think that it's much more, like 30-40%. So we have to change that impression. And at Swedavia, we have started a information campaign at some of our airports, Umeå airports, and Landvetter is going, Arlanda is going out first, but later on we have it on here at Bromma and Landvetter and Malmö. And we are trying to inform the travelers about the real impact and what they can do to reduce it. And if they want, the traveler could buy SAF from Fly Green Fund, our partners in this impression. And at Swedavia, we have started a information campaign at some of our airports, Umeå airports, and Landvetter is going, Arlanda is going out first, but later on we have it on here at Bromma and Landvetter and Malmö. And we are trying to inform the travelers about the real impact and what they can do to reduce it. And if they want, the traveler could buy SAF from Fly Green Fund, our partners in this. So that's one thing we are doing. And I think it's really important that everyone has to know that they can reduce their own impact when they are flying.
Yeah, of course, I agree with what was said just now. One thing which is still a bit puzzling to me is that although Sweden wants to be really the forerunner here, I wonder if we're doing enough. You are, and others are, private companies that meet and create fantastic things. But I would like to see more investment in this also from the politicians, from the government. Just to mention that still, 2022, we have a system where the government does not purchase sustainable aviation fuel, which is available here. You can Google.
I offered them some help.
Yeah.
I have lots of time.
Instead, they are climate compensating for their flying, and this is not modern. This is not forward-leaning. This is something we have to stop doing. And I'm not saying that climate compensation is all bad. I just say that when we talk about aviation, we have to replace the fossil fuel with non-fossil fuel. And we also have to develop electrical aviation and hydrogen aviation and creating more efficiency in the system. But if we cannot manage to replace the fossil fuel, we have a big problem. And just to mention that I'm in the Electrification Commission of the government. We're talking about exactly the same issues. We have to replace the energy, the fuel. We are not unique here. This is nothing special. We have to do exactly what the other transport modes and actually the society as such. We have to replace the fossil fuel with something new. So let's do that. And this is what we're doing here, what you are doing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And thank you to the panel, right?
Yeah.
I'm looking at you
Yes,
because
that's
we are.
true. Yes, over time.
So thank you, Fredrik. Thank you, Lena, and thank you, Maria. It's now time to go to the Q&A session.
And first, a big applause for the panel. Thank you. Yes.
So we might need some help from the two panels if we have questions. We might have questions for you.
Not for the moderators, I think, but
No.
you never know.
But we will try to give the questions to the right person, right?
Exactly.
So should we start here if there's any questions here in the room, and then we need some help with the questions from the stream.
Yes, perfect. So any questions here for the panel or panels? Crystal clear. Yes.
Yeah.
I think you get a microphone, sorry, so everyone can hear you. Yes. Oop. Yeah. No.
Okay.
Jan Bergler from Wallenius. We have a small business jet company, EFS, in Landvetter. When it comes to certification process, we all agree that it should be done, but when will it be done?
That's a good question.
Would you like?
Stefano.
So, certification. Certification means involving many different entities. And it's a step that is, I would say, worldwide, because we have to fly the aircraft in several different jurisdictions. And our goal is to have the aircraft certified 100% sustainable aviation fuel by 2025. I think from a technological point of view, we are well advanced into having elements, data, and even the flight of today will be an incredible contribution to gathering data. And then we will sit down with the authorities and discuss with them. And the first leg will be the description and agreement on what is 100% sustainable aviation fuel, which is the starting point, and then the certification of the aircraft. So our goal is not that far, 2025, and we will make it.
Can I also have a question?
Yes.
You know, because that's great. Already 2025. But your engines, so to say. Do you think that this could speed up also changing the standard for everyone to fly on 100%?
Well, listen, in terms of setting the way for the future, we have recently announced a study to develop a new family, which we call ATR EVO, and we will start from the engine manufacturers. Amongst the requirement that we have included in the RFI, the request for information, that we have sent to the different engine manufacturers, there is definitely, as a priority, 100% sustainable aviation fuel. There's no future without that.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Thank you, Stefano.
My pleasure.
Sounds promising. Yes, Fredrik.
Yes.
Yes, I have a question. Stefano, you can stay there.
You can stay there. Yeah.
It's a short question, but it's something that... It's a short question, but it's something that a question that I receive sometimes, and maybe you can help me to answer that. Why are we not there already? Why isn't engine certified for 100% SAF today? We have had enough of time. Have we been waiting for something particular? Is it technological development that simply we are there where we have to be today? Or could we have done it earlier? And if we didn't do that, why? It's a question I receive, and I think it's a good question.
Well, all aircraft today are certified 50% sustainable aviation fuel. That's a starting point. Why haven't we gone beyond that? Mostly because sustainable aviation fuel is not a tangible element of the supply side. So going 100% while there's no enough sustainable aviation fuel to fly 50% is not, let's say, something that the aviation industry so far has fought for. Now we're thinking, stretching to 100%, and we still are wondering where will, let's say, sustainable aviation fuel be produced so that we can fly actually, because we have to transform the ability of the aircraft to fly with the practical day-to-day operations where the aircraft is flying, say 10%, 50%, and eventually 100% sustainable aviation fuel.
And Per, you had a comment?
If I may add, when we started this study, we know that there is a blending in the blending, so to speak, and that's 30. With Neste, it's about 30% sustainable aviation fuel when it's being blended with normal fuel. And I think we asked as a small airline that we wanted to go to 50%, and then nobody had asked before. So I think that's the main reason why we wanted 100%. Nobody had asked the question. And I must say I'm less concerned about the certification process than the availability of SAF. And I think going back to the previous panel as well, I think I do foresee that the certification process will be within the limit of 5 years. I know you're working hard on it, and it's a lot of other projects, and it's basically the same fuel going into all the engines. But I'm more concerned about the supply side, and I think that's where the governments and European authorities has to to really contribute is to be able to speed up the production so that it's available as well. So I think then it's going to be 100%. We have not discussed yet the pricing of SAF, but of course that's part of the equation. So we need to have a working market for SAF. So I would say that the certification process is in very good hands, and I think it's going to work well. But what is not being sorted yet is the supply side. It needs to be proper feedstock. It needs to be enough capacity. So I would stress that factor. And and as I mentioned earlier, there are opportunities in Sweden, there are opportunities in the rest of Europe, and it's also about supplying SAF from produced close to where it's been consumed as well. We can't carry on traveling with big ships, taking big ships with SAF. It needs to be locally produced as well. So I think that's where we really need to put attention now going forward.
We have yes, good. We have the microphone. Maybe say something about the challenges as well that you see.
Thank you, everybody. That's not working. Try again.
Yes, no.
Thank you, everybody. Nice to see you here. Congratulations to a fantastic project. I'll say Mattias Ivarsson from SD1. And we see this as the only future, the only way forward. We need to go there. It's going to happen in one way or another. It's just a matter of how we get help and how we come there. That's the only way. So we're happy to see investments from other companies as well as ourselves. And I was happy to hear the thinking process about old refineries. That was a very good point. Like, use the infrastructure that's there. We got the aircrafts, the machines. These are already there. How can then we use that to make the good fuel from there going forward? That's the really opportunity here. And that's sustainable. And that's a very good point. So just echoing everything you say, we were happy to be there. I think it's the only way forward. And fantastic project. And congratulations.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
And we are pleased to see you in the same house as well.
Yeah.
You have moved in above us, haven't you? Yeah?
Co-tenants.
Okay, we have
No.
we have one question to you, Stefano. It's from Christopher at our live chat, and he asked, Airbus and Boeing say their planes will be 100% SAF compatible by 2030. How is ATR able to be earlier by 2025?
Well, ATR is a tiny company with a product that has a long and successful history. We have today demonstrated we can fly 100% SAF, and we'll take it from there. We are working actively on this project and 100% sustainable aviation fuel since a couple of years. I think the whole industry is looking at it much more seriously than ever before. The difficulty, as I said before, is not from a technological standpoint, is to have a common ground for setting the reference for fuel. And that will be the most difficult part of us. And eventually we have one single engine that's coming back to the dimension of ATR, which is Pratt & Whitney, and not so many different engines to deal with. That explains why we think by 2025 we'll be able to certify it.
Okay, thank you. Christopher, let us know if you want something more explained. Otherwise, we will go to your next question. I think this might be a question to you, Fredrik. It's, can you explain about the regulatory approval required for the 100% SAF flight? And were there any passengers on board?
It's actually thanks for the question. It's not actually just me who's going to answer this question. I mean, we have the team from ATR as well, which I would say from an approval point of view, a regulatory approval point of view, I think they are the one who actually done the biggest job from EASA point of view. What was the question?
the regulatory approval required, and if there
No,
were
but
any
I
passengers
say, I mean,
on
when we
board.
started, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm looking at you guys. When we started, I mean, we had a thought, and this is what we need to do to actually obtain this approval. So it was nothing, I mean, there was nothing written saying, okay, this is the way you do if you want to have an approval for 100% SAF. I mean, that didn't exist. So it was more from ATR technical point of view saying, okay, this is what we believe. And then, of course, together with the panel and with the project. And we said from our point of view, saying, okay, but if this flight is going to fly on the Swedish territory, this is what we require from our authorities to be able to do this. And then, of course, combining this together with the fact, I mean, Neste is a huge part of this as well. So you had to do your bit when you're coming into, we have to prove to EASA, basically saying that this fuel is perfect to fly on with 100% SAF in both engines. So everything that in combination made it pass. I mean, we have been so many different steps here, so it's not a single answer to that question. But we adopted along the way. I would say that's what we did. And hence also where we were coming in time constraints, because I mean we didn't really know in September what to expect. Is it going to be 6 months or 10 months? I mean, and finally it was 10 months and a couple of days.
Exactly.
So now we have the proof. Yeah, so it's been a bumpy road, difficult, because I mean, no one on the authorities can lean on any background on it either. They haven't done this before. This is the first time, and that's the reason why we're here today.
Yeah, and I mean that's the how you explain innovation, right? You need to find a road to go there. Someone needs to make the path.
And I think the difference here, and I think that's very important to remember when we're doing this kind of project, is that normally when you do something new, when innovating, then you can test, and that's fine. You test, okay, it didn't work. But you know, in this project, you don't test, and okay, it didn't work. You do it another way. You don't do that. Before you do the test, you need to have a certainty that it's actually going to work in a safe way. So I think that is the biggest difference here. And it is only one priority in this business, and that's safety. Yeah, so I mean, we wouldn't do this flight today if we weren't 100% sure this is going to work out. And that has been along the whole journey, I mean, the top priority.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Hope you are pleased, Christopher, with the answer. We don't have any more in the live chat, so do we have any more questions here in the room?
Otherwise, I think we have some time for coffee mingle and a wrap or similar before we see the historical landing at the terrace just behind us. Before we close this session, though, I want to thank every one of you that has been involved in the project. I think you all know it's been a bumpy road. We have so many things that went wrong, and we fixed it because we collaborated together. Also, you know, from the technical team, comms, PA, you know, and the leadership, the trust you have in us doing this, but also being here and all the employees working at Broughton's that helped out so we could actually be here at all, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, I mean, big thank you for making this possible. Maria, do you want to add something?
No, I think
that went wrong, and we fixed it because we collaborated together. Also, you know, from the technical team, comms, PA, you know, and the leadership, the trust you have in us doing this, but also being here and all the employees working at Broughton's that helped out so we could actually be here at all, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, I mean, big thank you for making this possible. Maria, do you want to add something?
No, I think you said it very well. But yeah, I would also like to thank you, and also as the project manager, of course. It's been a really, even if it's been a bumpy road, it's been it's been a fantastic project, and it's very pleasing to be here today and see what we actually have accomplished. And we do hope that it will be known, as you said, I think, Fredrik, that tomorrow everyone in the world will know what we did here today, because it is a big day for us.
And the fun part, I think, also that it's not only Neste ATR and Broughton's, it's also the ones being here as well. We need to collaborate together, decision makers, the industry, the airports as well, because I think it's very important that we do this journey together as well.
And I think that's the difference. We have been talking a lot about this. This is the difference when we go into renewables and the circular economy that needs the whole ecosystem. No one can do it by themselves, both when it comes to the investments, but also with doing the work. We need to do it together.
Yes.
And maybe that's the fun of it, right?
Yes, exactly. So let's mingle together now and discuss this more.
And go out on the terrace. It's fantastic, and it's sunny out there. And we will bring out some of our coffee and wraps.
Sorry, we forgot the hybrid part. We also thank you participating online here as well. And can they see? They can't see the landing.
Well, you will be able to see the landing. We will have a break now, and we will let you know when the landing is. Do we know now, Fredrik? So we can.
Last time I wanted to check the flight radar, you heard the advertiser coming. So I wait now for a minute until. Do you want me to check?
Yes, please do, so we can tell our online viewers.
47 minutes.
So without an advertiser.
11:47.
11:40.
Half an hour.
So in half an hour, be back a little bit earlier, maybe in the live stream, if you want to see the landing.
Yes.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
perform one more max power on rails to confirm and perform what we call SLAM. This means a quick reduction to flight level, just to see if there is any surge on the engine. And as everything was fine, we put back full power and release the brake. And we took off. And we land here.
Then we enjoyed.
Yeah.
Basically,
Launch
we're
was
talking about
the
an
coastline.
uneventful flight.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the best flight.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we tried to connect, but it was complicated. I don't
Yeah,
know
we saw
how long.
you. We saw you.
Okay.
And we lose the connection during the last turn to be aligned on the runway, and no time to re-enter the 15 numbers. I put my phone on the bag.
Safety first.
Exactly. Exactly. I hope you appreciate to have a real time.
We saw the takeoff and we saw the
Yes,
landing. It
okay,
was perfect.
okay,
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, great. Have you flown in Sweden before?
Once it was 1 year ago when we came to Bratans to perform a technical flight for IFU.
In England.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was Pascal. Pascal is not.
It's not me.
No more here.
No.
Yes, it was the second time. Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Did you also perform the first flight you did in Toulon?
Yes. It was so. Pascal?
Yeah.
So
Big round of applause for Pascal.
Pascal was in charge of the 100 SAF program inside ATR on test department. So he was in charge since the beginning, and we performed together with another test pilot the first flight with 100 SAF fuel on the left, fuel tanks and left engine, and standard fuel on the right. Like that, we have the safety means to still have the right engine in case of surge or anything unexpected on the left engine. So we perform 5 flights.
More than 10 hours?
Yes, more than 10 hours. And no snag noted on real time, and then Pratt & Whitney confirmed that everything was good. That's why they clear for the flight of today with the clearance note. So yes, we did that end of January. It was the 20th. So 5 months after, we do that.
We do.
Yes, on the commercial aircraft.
You know you're historical, huh?
Yes, I know. It's the first step of the finally the certification of the.
That's why they're
fuel.
there, because they're making history.
Yes.
That's true.
But my name is very complicated, so
yeah.
I'm sure that everybody remembers. Jean-Pierre Mar is more easy.
No, Cyril. Cyril.
Voilà. Yes.
Well, everyone will learn now.
Yeah.
See, Sab with Rose.
Voilà. It's easy.
It's easy. Once you know it.
Yeah.
4 years.
4 years. 4 years. And I still struggle with it. I have to be very concentrated.
Can you say something about the next steps in the process now? It was a test flight, but what?
Yes, so for us it was as the 100 fuel, the SAF fuel is not certified. So it was what we call a category 1 experimental test flight because it's not certified and it's a clearance flight envelope, normal test we are performing. So I know Romain is here. Maybe you can come close to me and to add something. And what we expect, Romain is more suitable to answer, but all the data is analyzed by Pratt & Whitney, and then after take the decision internally. How do we manage the certification in the coming years? Because it will take, I will say, an administrative work to exchange with EASA, also with FAA, to converge on the certif program, because it's surely administrative, but also what we call the means of compliance. The flight is a MOXIS, and so they have to converge on our position, and then prepare all the certification flight test program and fly with them. Consolidate maybe our development flight also, and then after for them to analyze all the dossier, and then after them to. But I don't know exactly the chronology schedule internally. I yet Romain.
2025.
Okay. So 3 years. 3 years.
It's a long way to go. Yes.
Yeah. But it's an average time for such a modification certification.
Yeah. So the engines used today are are you going to pay any special attention to those, I mean, companies or next flight, or is there, will there be any extra checks or?
Yes, we will have to consolidate the data. We cannot support with only one exposure because we took credit of the 10 hours of the flight with the prototype. Nevertheless, we do not expose with extreme condition, for example, with cold condition, hot condition. On the prototype, we climb at the maximum altitude at flight 250, but not at all today. So we will have to do that, so to take the flight envelope of the aircraft and to perform some snapshots.
This particular aircraft can
So
go and fly, right?
that was modified with two things just for the flight, but it was exactly the same components as normal. The only difference here that these components were owned by Pratt & Whitney. So, yeah, so they want to take them back and analyze them, but then we just put back the normal one, and then we fly tomorrow morning. Yeah.
And the consumption was exactly the same as expected?
From a crew point of view, I checked on the QRH, and it was exactly the same fuel flow at the same speed and same altitude. So there is no difference notable either on torque, on ITT. So engine parameters are quite similar. Yes, yeah.
We could say maybe less.
Maybe less, but
we don't know.
We cannot know. It will be
No, it's not less.
It has to be analyzed.
Just the same.
Yes.
Just the same.
Very interesting.
There's a lot of work to be done, and we will do it diligently because certification is, first of all, it's testing the flying envelope beyond the usual limits of a commercial flight. That's why they're wearing, let's say, special vests because they have a special role to go beyond the limit to guarantee safety to the people that will then fly the aircraft. And we will explore all the possible boundaries in extreme conditions so that the operation will be flawless.
And we have to, as an airline, we need to also explore and more the distribution of the fuel.
Yes, because for the time being, it's complicated. Huh? We cannot.
And as you know,
You know.
Yes, right, yeah.
34 is your normal blend is 34% SAF.
Well, we're trying to maximize this, I mean, the bio content. I mean, we started first, we had, I mean, a couple of years ago, around 20-25%. But we have learned now, so we are getting up to 38, almost 40%.
Yeah.
We can do up to 50 actually, but then we need to do it in our own refinery.
Yeah.
Because to tailor cut actually the fossil part. But right now we are just buying fossil in the market, but 38-40% is what we are.
I think our goal is that this airport will have as the fuel is a 50% blend from 25. So if you want a lower blend, more A1, you have to pay extra.
No, but no.
So 40% would be more than 35% reduction of CO2 emission.
Yeah. If we can do a 50% blend on this airport in 25 and use the distribution of fuel altogether to this airport is 50% SAF, and if you come with some sort of, and if you want 100%, you have to pay extra for the distribution. I think that's a good start.
They also said that if they don't count 100% SAF as jet fuel, so first it needed to be taxed as well. It's so strange. You know, it's like
We're not in France, are we?
why? But then we have this tax break for high blends in Sweden for road transportation,
We have to
and
do
it
a
worked
flight
also for.
inviting all the
Okay, so that's
parliament
clear.
members explaining what we're doing and why.
Yeah, but this year, but then again, yeah.
But so from the interesting thing, is there any, which has to be explored, is there any long-term effects on the engine from a utilization of that's tricky, no?
Looking at this experts, but I mean, from my point of view, I mean that's what you said at least.
But the emission, no, it's going to be the same.
But I mean, for the duration of the services, etc.
Okay, so that's one we need to check about the engine. So we have to perform tests with quite everything to make sure that on a long-term point of view there is no impact on the
But you're having the same,
C'est après, c'est après,
having the same temperature in the engine. don't you?
Yeah, so it should be okay.
So you should be okay,
Yes.
because I mean, the temperature is supposed to, they're
Yes.
together.
Yeah, but we need to check the fuel nozzle and the fuel system.
So we got somebody online that thinks it's a bit difficult to listen to us now.
go on stage.
Shall we? If you want, do you want to talk there? Yeah.
Ouais, ouais, parce que je suis un peu fatigué.
Var det frågor på nätet? För jag har inte
On s'est couché à 1h, on s'est levé à 5h. À l'aéroport là-haut, là,
If there's any questions?
Oui, parce qu'au départ, on avait la connexion à Arlanda. Donc après, on a pris le taxi à 5h20 pour venir là.
Okay, so we just heard that it was maybe a little bit difficult to hear us on the live stream. We got so excited when we got the pilots and the technician from the airplane. So we stopped them in the door and started to talk to them. But can you tell us a little bit about the flight so also our online people can hear?
So good morning, everybody. So we were 3 test crew on board. So I was the captain of the flight. I was supported by Jean-Pierre Mar as a first officer, which is also a test pilot. And also the third guy is Pascal Dossin, who is in charge of the 100 SAF fuel program inside the ATR. He's a lead flight test engineer on this program. So this flight, we have a specific suit because it was an experimental test flight. It was a category 1 because the SAF fuel 100 concentration is not yet certified, neither EASA nor FAA. So that's why it was an open flight clearance. So we have performed some engine run-up, so it's ground testing on the engine with max power, without engine computer, without bleed, with bleed, max reverse, and after that Pascal was happy with the ground result, and we aligned on the runway, perform one more max power with a very quick reduction of the power level to check if there is any engine surge with this configuration. Parameters were absolutely normal, so we took decision all together to put back the max power and to release the brake, and we took off normally. We climb so at 15,000 feet. We cruise at a normal airspeed. During the flight, regarding crew, we do not detect any abnormal engine parameter, so no surge, no variation of any engine parameter. And we confirm that for a flight crew, there is no difference with an engine supplied by 100 SAF. So regarding the parameters of the engine, the torque, the ITT, the NH, the NL. So for a crew flying that, it's transparent. There is no subject. And then we performed the descent, and we landed here in Broma. So normally nothing. I put the max reverse also for deceleration to stress a little bit the engine. So there is also no abnormal parameters on this part of the ground phase. And we taxi to the apron and shut down the engine with no failure and no abnormal parameters on the engine. So it was for us, for the test crew, a very positive test flight. We are more than very proud to be part of this great adventure and the historic flight that we told before. And as we mentioned a few minutes ago, it's the beginning of, I would say, a long way to go to the certification. So expected 2025 inside ATR for commercial 100 SAF use. So maybe Jean-Pierre or Pascal.
You also got a question here earlier. If did you use more fuel or was it the same level?
No, it was the same level. Pascal has performed all along the track of the flight. He performed a comparison with the prediction and the fuel consumption, and we were, I will say, on the line, what we call l'épaisseur du crayon. So it means 40, 50 kilograms, but it's not, it's mainly, largely in the tolerance of the gauging of the aircraft. So no difference.
Yes.
Yes, of course. But yes, but I would like not to consider that we have safe fuel during this flight, because we do not have the accurate result to do that. We need an analysis from a design office, ATR, and Pratt & Whitney to confirm the data.
And with 25, you should remember that you're 5 years ahead of both Boeing and Airbus.
Yeah.
Well, yes, we're pioneers.
No, nothing to add, except that the weather was just beautiful, and especially the approach here in that was just fantastic.
It's always like this.
Thank you.
It's always
Especially in November.
Not sure. We came in November, and I remember it was not like that.
Yeah, it was a good flight weather, wasn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's helpful when we perform such a test flight, during which we are concentrated on a specific point. So when we fly with this very good condition, we can relax about this management and would be very accurate on the check of the parameters we expect here.
So thank you all for this nice weather forecast.
Good choice of a date.
You did it. You did it.
Do we have any questions from the stream?
One question you got also is like, did you feel safe? You know, was it? Did how the feeling?
Yeah. So in fact, we have beginning of this year we have performed a test flight on the prototype aircraft with only one engine supplied by 100 SAF and the other by normal fuel. And this flight we have performed, so close to 10 flight test hours, gave us some confidence to perform this flight. So we had all the results given by Pratt & Whitney. Internally, we have performed what we call an operational risk management. It means what could we do if we lose both engine? Because on the first test flight, we consider the right engine with the normal fuel as a safer. It was not the case this morning, because if both engines decide to have abnormal behavior, so we have prepared everything, and with all this preparation and with the initial test flight we performed internally, it gave us sufficient confidence to perform the test. And I think we were in the right way, because the result is that we flew 1 hour 25,
yes.
And so with no event on both engines. So it's one more recorded test data to take into account.
We were highly confident before the flight, and everything went as expected.
Yeah.
So thank you, everybody.
Well, thank you for being the
Nevertheless, this morning during the briefing, we spoke about total engine flame out procedure. Okay, so it was a test flight. Huh? Yeah. So we have considered what to do. Who is in charge? So Jean-Pierre was in charge to communicate to the ATC, the air tower controller, to inform that we may divert to any other airfield. We consider to have an airfield always 40 nautical miles around our aircraft. In case of this event, Pascal would have been in charge to try to recover the engine, and I would have been in charge to fly the aircraft safely. And we have considered to glide to an airfield, okay? Because we have some data like that. We know that we need 2 nautical miles per 1,000 feet in descent without engine, and to glide and to land safely. So it was mainly an experimental test flight with surely some pressure. We were not stressed because it's our job, and we are used to do that since more than 20 years. But yes, it was exciting. Huh?
Yeah. I'm glad it went well, though. Perfect landing, perfect takeoff, and you are historical as pilots doing this flight today. You want to say, Alice? end maybe?
No,
Mary, do you wanna-
I just thought that it feels like we should give you an applaud.
Yeah.
I think.
Thank you. Thank you to you. When we always say in a test community, it's a team. Teamwork, and the result is not only on the test crew, it's all the preparation phases, the actions, the confidence between all together. So it's important to underline.
That, but it was straight and easy for us today.
Actually, I've already told them sort of it's been a bumpy road and
Yes.
cancelled flights and so on.
The bad
so.
thing is only we just have a 4 hour of sleep with Pascal. So, but it was safe. Huh? Okay. We feel good. Huh?
So I think then if we don't have any more questions from... yeah, one online, yes. I can...
Yes.
So the question online is, what are the next steps in the flight test program? Maybe it's something
Yeah.
you can help
Romain,
with
you.
Do you want to come up here?
Yes.
J'avais prévenu.
C'est gentil. Okay, so next step for the flight test program will be working with our partners and supplier of fuel system, the engines, and we are going to perform a test to see the long-term impact of using 100% SAF. And afterward, we will have the aircraft test, and we will plan a test plan with EASA to make sure we go to certification.
From 2025, we could fly only on 100% SAF.
That's the plan.
Perfect. And with that, I think we could end this press conference.
Yep.
Thank you so much for joining here at the Broughton Airlines head office, but also you being with us online as well. So with that, I think there are, for those who's here, there are still some wraps and coffee, and please mingle around. Thank you so much.
Thank you.